In 2023, I was invited to do a Dharma talk with my friend Juan at a cacao ceremony in Miami. Cacao ceremonies are not religious, but have a deep spiritual connection, helping participants to pause, reflect, and bring light to moments often taken for granted. They are seen as an opportunity to invite more connection, purpose, celebration, and gratitude into one's life. So I thought this would be a perfect time to share a message.
The topic can be a little maybe culty, or you're the weirdo, oh, that's the animal rights person, or it can be like if we're fanatics. But I feel as though it's just the right thing to do. And I feel that we have been conditioned by society to normalize violence. Eating animals is normal because in traditions we ate animals for celebrations, holidays, birthdays, what have you, right? But it's not a celebration for the animals. And those animals also have families. They feel love, pain, everything we feel. So I just think that traditions and belief systems need to be upgraded. We're in the year 2023 and it's time for change. Oh, thank you. Change starts with each and every one of us. There is that saying you guys have, I'm sure, seen on social media, be the change you want to see in the world. But it's true, and it's all integrated. So I found that I was living between worlds. I was an animal rights activist in New York City, big vegan family, and then I had my spiritual family. And what I found was my vegan family saw me as the one that's out there, the new age, the one that's out there, the spiritual, woo, Then the spiritual family, they would walk delicate around me because I wear messages on my shirt. I clearly have a tattoo on my arm that says no fur. So I was kind of like the nun in the room reminding them of their sins when they're eating the animals. When I just want everybody to feel natural around me, I want, my vision is to merge those two subcultures, because that's what they are, they're subcultures. And Juan taught me we need to be held accountable. And, we have to be responsible for our actions in every way, whether it's entertainment, how we carry ourselves. And Lewis was saying earlier about when he sees someone being angry or mean or something like that before, he was looking in himself. It's called mirroring. So why do we attract certain people? We'll say, why do I always attract this type of person? But they're mirrors of us. And so if we can each individually do our own inner work and just live your truth, but the truth cannot be told, it can only be realized, right? So everybody's truth is different. So one may defend eating animals because that's what they did on the holidays. That's how I was brought up from this country and blah, blah, blah. But if we each make the conscious connection to make that shift, we all want to shift the planet for better. And if we can each do it little by little, if you're not vegan, you have to be vegan and tomorrow, anything done drastically doesn't last, just like diets and fads. So, when it comes to spirituality, right, and it's also scientific, what I'm about to say, energy can only be transferred. It cannot be, it's not terminated. Is it Einstein? I don't know who that theory, scientific, not very scientific-ish, but energy can only be transferred. So if we are great, loving people and we do our best to whatever it is we do. And we consider our own selves that we're a good person. Might have good intentions, but then we go and eat an animal or consume dairy, you know, sometimes we don't want to take, we pretend like brush it under the rug. But I'm going off on a tangent. Energy can only be transferred, not terminated. So whatever that animal went through, you know, someone said, I'm sure the animals are not going to care if I eat a little goat cheese or honey. Well, that's, you know, making yourself feel better, but the truth is the truth. So we can all make change, okay? Our bodies are temples, they're not tombs. So, for example, if we're yogis and we om at the end and we say, may all beings be happy and free, and then they go eat a hamburger. I mean, for me, it's hypocrisy. It's not my truth. So I personally work on not judging because I have come a long way. We are not born perfect. In New York City, I used to fur shame on the streets of New York. I have videos that would have thousands of views. People liked it, but that's three-dimensional linear entertainment. There is no positive change happening there. So what I like to say is that my passion is still the same, yet my approach has changed. So when I am out there on a megaphone, I try to use words that are positive and to try to connect with those that are listening, whether it's the children, planting a seed. And later, I've heard throughout my years of activism, where they're like, you know what, I'm vegan now. Oh, really? Well, you helped me rescue a cat in Brooklyn. Like, I don't remember. Well, I wrote a book. It's sold on Amazon. It's #1 seller. I don't know. But it's kind of like what, I don't know what it's called, but what Lewis said at the beginning, and what I described it as pay it forward. So we can all make change for a better world. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to hog the time. Thank you.
I co-organize an organization called SoFlo Animal Rights, stands for South Florida. So first off, I'd like to thank Louis and Aguacate and Michelle for introducing me to Louis. I think we have similar interests. We're surrounded by like-minded people, I think, who are, we're at a ceremony of the heart, Also, I didn't know this was a women's retreat. I'm not complaining. I'm just.
No, we have
one over here. I see you. But anyways, thank you, Michelle, for that. I'd like to share a couple things. So I was, I was thanking Louis for giving us this platform to share our perspective. And thank you for your undivided attention. It's great to have so many people listening to a message that once you hear it, it's your own message. It's not our message. Obviously, we're vegan, and I do many forms of activism. Michelle does many different forms of activism, but one of the forms that I do that I focus on, because I think I'm the most effective at, is outreach on the streets. We show slaughterhouse footage on monitors, and we have conversations with the public that walk by who decide to stop and watch. We're not trying to stop people. It's like whoever has an open mind wants to know why we're there and why we're showing this footage, we'll have a conversation with them. And I bring that up because I like to tell people when I'm outreaching them, I'm like, hey, vegans, we have a reputation, and we are always accused of shoving our beliefs down your throats, like some kind of religious group. Everybody always tells me, stop shoving your beliefs down my throat. Well, I got two things to say to that. I always answer them, I'm like, listen, I'm not shoving my beliefs down your throat. I'm shoving your beliefs down your throat. We share the same beliefs. We really do. It's not even a belief. A belief is based on faith. Veganism is based on facts. Animals suffer. Animals feel pain. Animals don't want to suffer. don't want to feel pain. Animals want to live. Their lives matter to them as much as your life matters to you. That's not a belief, that's a fact. Their lives might not matter to you, but their lives matter to them in the same way that your life matters to you. So, again, we're not coming from a place of judgment, we're coming from a place of awareness, right? I didn't go vegan until the age of 42. I'm about to turn 50 in May. So I've been vegan almost 8 years now. And I didn't consider myself a bad person before I was vegan, right? So I'm not saying if you're not vegan, you're a bad person. But when you come to the realization that there is a way to live where you don't have to participate and be their oppressor, their tormentor, then that should be the moral baseline. Don't we agree?
Yeah.
If we can live in a way that doesn't cause animals suffering, pain, and death, the only thing that they have is their lives, and we take that from them for a sandwich, for a pair of shoes, for entertainment, for products that we put in our hair. Veganism, most people think, is a diet. It's not a diet. It's a social justice movement. We are fighting for the rights of the most oppressed, innocent, vulnerable, defenseless beings on this planet. Now, I was at an outreach event on Saturday in Hollywood, and one of the girls that I was outreaching asked me, "Don't you think there are more important issues in the world?" Now, we're not saying that this issue is the most important or the only issue that we should be focused on. In fact, we're not asking people to become activists. We're asking people to stop harming animals. That's a non-action. We're not asking people to do something. We're asking people to not do something. It's very simple. Now, we all have a choice, okay? We can choose to be not vegan, and there are no repercussions legally because animals' rights are not protected like our rights are. But I'm going to pose something to all of you because we're not talking legality here, right? Legality does not equal morality. I think we can agree to that. We can look back 150 years ago, and it was legal to own people who had a dark skin. It was legal to beat them. Legal. Now we look back and say, how could we have done that? How could we humans own people and treat them as property? Shame on us. But we evolved. Well, in the future, 50 years from now, people are going to look back at this generation and say, how could humanity be so callous? How could they be so cruel to the most innocent, beautiful souls on this planet who have done nobody no wrong? So the question is, what side of history do you want to be on? What do you want to tell your grandchildren when you had the opportunity to live vegan and you chose not to? How will you be able to justify that to your grandchildren? When I went vegan, it didn't even feel like a choice. I'll tell you a quick little story on how I went vegan. My brother went vegan. He's 10 years younger than me. And he went vegan about 10 years ago. And we were having dinner at my mom's house and my parents' house. And I said to him, "Why are you always eating different than us? What's going on here?" And he said, "Well, I'm vegan now." I said, "You're what?" I never even heard of the word vegan 10 years ago. I didn't know what it was, what it meant. And so he had a conversation with me. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember exactly what I said to him. I said, "Brother, I respect what you're doing, but I could never go vegan. I love my steak." And I really believed that. I believed that I would never and could never be vegan. I would have bet my life on it. So if you think right now that I hear what you're saying, you're right, it's interesting, but it's not for me. Okay? I'm an example of somebody that thought like that. Not only did I go vegan, but now I have a microphone in front of my hand speaking about animal rights to a bunch of strangers. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be doing this. But now if you might ask me, like, I don't really want to do this. I wish we lived in a vegan world. I do this not for my benefit. I don't gain anything from this. I do this because the animals don't have a voice. They are not given an opportunity to fight for their basic universal rights. We all have the same basic universal rights. Animals and humans have the same basic universal rights. Okay? I'm not saying humans and animals are the same, because that's what people tell me, oh, why don't, are you saying that animals are equal to humans? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we are the same in the ways that matter. Animals have emotions like humans. They express fear when they're going up the slaughterhouse ramp. They see, they smell, they hear what's happening in front of them. And they are scared to death. You know what they do? They fight to the very end. They beg for mercy. And I'm sorry, this might be hard to listen to. This is a beautiful sacred space, and I know we're talking about love, but I have to share these truths in order to create change. So we may have to think about some very, very negative things, because that will help you make the connection. So when these animals are going up the slaughterhouse ramp, they are fighting to the very end. They are begging for mercy. They are trying to turn around and walk the other direction, because they know something good, something not good is happening over there. But unfortunately, we've developed tools, electric prods, that jolt them up the ramp. I'm only here because the animals can't be here. If they could protest, they would. If they could be out on the streets, please leave us alone. We have rights. What are those rights? And I'm almost done. I know we're probably going over time. I'm almost done here. The right to exist free from oppression. The right to live and be happy. The right to not be harmed by others. The right to not be tortured and tormented. The right to love. The right to be free. I'll leave you with one thing. If you don't want to be harmed, if you don't want to be exploited, if you don't want to be tormented, if you don't want to be killed, you have those rights for those things not to happen to you. If you don't want those things happening to you, what gives you the right to do that to others? You don't have that right. You have the legal right, but you don't have the moral right to cause suffering, pain, and death to others if it can be avoided. I'm not talking about if a bear attacks me, I'm not going to kill the bear or try to because I'm vegan. That's what some people tell me. Of course I'm going to defend myself, and I will kill the bear if I can. I'll probably lose, but if I can, I will kill the bear to try to defend myself. We're not talking about survival. We're not talking about 2,000 years ago when, we may not have had access to plant-based foods and we had to survive by eating animals. If you have to eat an animal to survive, I'm not going to get in your way, because you have the right to survive. But we're not living in those times. It's 2023. We live in a modern society with a grocery store every 2 blocks with a ton of plant-based foods. And in 2023, fortunately, there's a lot of vegan options. I'm not saying they're the healthiest, but if you like pizzas, if you like hot dogs, if you like sausages, if you like burgers, if you like all those foods you're used to eating, well, guess what? They exist in a vegan version. And if you might say to yourself, well, they don't taste as good, that's not true. First of all, they've done taste tests. You can't even tell the difference anymore. But that is actually irrelevant, because if I have to eat salad for the rest of my life and get the nutrients that I need from the plants, and I didn't have access to all these delicious ice cream and cheeses and burgers, I still have a moral obligation to live vegan, because I don't have a right to cause others harm. I just don't. And so I leave you with that. I hope that you can think about that. I always finish my outreach conversations by saying this. You can try to justify it. You might be trying to justify it in your head right now because you don't consider yourself a bad person. So there must be a reason why it's okay to do what I do. Habit, culture, tradition, convenience, taste, pleasure. I've been led to believe that I need to for my health, which is a lie. I need protein. You do need protein, but you don't need animal protein. So you can try to justify it all you want, but there's no justification from the perspective of the animal. So I ask you this, if you're trying to justify it, if you decide to not go vegan, you have to answer to the animals that you are causing them harm. And so put yourself in their situation and pretend that you're the animal. Close your eyes, imagine yourself as the animal. And somebody is trying to justify killing you when they don't have to. There's no justification. It just doesn't exist. If you're the victim, you wouldn't accept any justification. You wouldn't say, oh, you know what, you have a point, go ahead, and you wouldn't do it. So if you try to justify it, put yourself in the animal situation, and then you'll realize that there is no justification. And because we can live vegan, because we can be healthy, because we can thrive on a plant-based diet, because we can survive as vegans, we have not a choice to be vegan, but we have a moral obligation to live vegan. Thank you.
If anybody has, maybe we can, I don't know if you're on Lewis's list or if there's a chat, but we can provide some links for some more information, like documentaries, like there's Anonymous for the Voiceless. Yeah, maybe take a picture of it if you don't have enough. But there's so many links, social media accounts where there's just so much information. Because, you know, I get asked a lot with friends that follow me on social media, and they'll say, I don't know how to start, or what can I cook, or, you know, there's so much stuff online. So I think you have some stuff? Okay.
On that note, I'd like to add something. So yeah, thank you, Michelle, for that. So we're happy to share resources and information, and we love to help people on how to live vegan. But as an activist, my job isn't to tell you how to live vegan. My job is to tell you that you must live vegan. The how part, you'll figure it out. I did. We all did. There's this thing called Google. Okay? It's got a world of information there. You'll figure it out. You might make mistakes. That's okay. I made mistakes. But if your heart isn't, I believe that everybody's already vegan. Every single person here is vegan. The only difference is that you're not living vegan. Because again, I'll say one more thing. If you ask randomly 100 people, randomly on the streets, excuse me, are you for or against animal cruelty? What do you think 100 out of 100 people are going to say? Against. Not only do they say, I've tested this, by the way. Not only do they say against, but they always follow it up with for or against animal. I'm against animal cruelty. I love animals. Okay, great. These are your values, right? You're against animal cruelty. So imagine this. Your values are here. I am against animal cruelty. They're not my values. Again, I'm not shoving my beliefs down your throat. These are what you just told me. These are your values. I'm against animal cruelty. My actions are here. I pay for, fund, and support animal cruelty. My words, my actions are opposite of each other. What does that make you? When you say one thing but do the exact opposite, what does that make you?
A hypocrite.
And Michelle said it earlier, it's a hypocrisy. Now again, we're not saying that to make you feel bad. We're saying that as a matter of truth. It is an objective truth. If you say you are against animal cruelty, but you pay for and create a demand for animal cruelty, you can't be both. Because if you are, you're a hypocrite. So you either have to change your values and say, I am okay with the needless suffering of animals, and then not be vegan. Then your values would be in alignment. I wouldn't, you're not a very nice person, but it would be in alignment. But if you say, I don't want to cause the suffering of innocent beings if I can avoid it, then you have to live in alignment with that. And the biggest regret that all vegans have, and by the way, you might meet a lot of vegans that aren't really vegan. They think it's a diet. You cannot eat vegan at a zoo. You're not vegan if you're supporting a zoo. You cannot be vegan eating vegan food while wearing a leather jacket that you just bought. So veganism goes beyond diet. It is an ethical stance against animal use and animal abuse. And we need to respect their rights that they were given at the time they were born. The same rights that we all have. I have some cards here with some information. If anybody's interested, I can hand them out. There's some documentaries here. I'm going to tell you two that you should definitely watch. One is not a documentary. It's a lecture at Georgia Tech University by one of the greatest activists of our time. His name is Gary Yourofsky.
Amazing. He's amazing.
He is absolutely one of the absolute best voices for the animals. He has, just watch it. It's called The Best Speech You Will Ever Hear. It's on YouTube. It's literally called The Best Speech You Will Ever Hear. It's a lecture he did at Georgia Tech University. It's about an hour long. You watch that. When I watched that, and this is not just my story, so many people share the same story. When I went down the rabbit hole, when my brother told me that he was vegan and I said I can never go vegan, he said something that triggered something that made me go down the rabbit hole. I went home and I started to do some research and I started to learn some things I was not okay with, and I was like, how did I never know about any of this? And then I encountered Gary Yourofsky's The Best Speech You Will Ever Hear video. As soon as that video ended, something clicked in my brain. Literally, like neurons or something happened in my brain, and I said, holy cow. Get it? Holy cow. Holy cow, I'm vegan. It wasn't even like I had to choose whether or not I was going to be vegan. I was like, oh my God, I'm vegan. Now I have to figure out how to live vegan.
Yeah.
So when you watch that, it'll blow your mind. So that's the first one on the card. And then I recommend watching the third one called Dominion. It's a very, very good documentary on what the animals go through in the animal agriculture industries. And it's hard to watch. But if you're going to support it, you owe it to yourself and to the animals to watch it, and then continue supporting it after you watch it. Because I don't think you will. Yes?
Why don't you recommend the video that your brother did?
Oh, Norm. So my brother, I have two brothers, we're all activists. Huh?
That is amazing.
Yeah. So, and that's not on here, I need to put that on here. My brother is a filmmaker. He's an activist as well. He did a 12-minute film called Norm. You can find it on YouTube. That will blow your mind because he created a make-believe world. I'm wrapping up. He created a make-believe world and made an analogy on veganism. I'll leave it at that. It will blow your mind. Thank you so much.
You.
Is it Louis or Louise? Louise, thank you so much for the platform and for allowing us to share our perspective with an audience.
Thank you.